also to help you and support you the initiatives of WynActive and Wyndham City. Hi, and welcome back to WynActive Webcast. Great to have you back. And look, we're having a great time talking to lots of really interesting and knowledgeable people. I'm not sure we're there today, but we'll see what happens. I'm only joking, of course. We've always got interesting people. But first of all, my co-host, James, g'day. How are you doing today?
I'm very good, Barry. It's a wonderful day, and again, very excited to be on another edition of our WynActive webcasts. And I think we're blessed to be in the presence of some sport and recreation royalty. And wanted to take the opportunity to welcome Cam Atkins, manager for sport and recreation at Wyndham City. Cam, welcome to the WynActive webcast.
Thanks, James, and thanks, Barry. I think royalty is very flattering. I wouldn't go that far, but we'll see how we go today with the some intelligence.
Oh, look, I'm sure, Cam. I know for a fact that you've got some great information, but to talk about later, and you're going to talk about the Find Your 30, Do It Your Way campaign that we're currently running, and also we'll be exploring the whole sport and rec landscape within Wyndham, which sort of does come under your banner. But before we go there, something that James and I are doing with all of our guests is finding out what you're grateful for today, in particular, or just generally. We can focus on those negatives in this situation, but we're really trying to be positive. So, what are you grateful for?
Yeah, it's a good question and really important, Barry. So I guess first and foremost, I'm thankful for my health and that of my family. If we were doing this a month ago, I reckon that would have been the thing that was most stressful in life for a lot of people. But obviously with everyone doing a great job with the social distancing, we can be a bit more optimistic at this point. And, hopefully just a bit longer and we can get out there. And I think that, just being able to give your parents a physical hug that's some of the things you miss the most, those simple little things like that. The other thing, something that my wife said last night, is that, I guess the silver lining this whole situation is that being able to have some, more dedicated family time. Obviously being home during the day affords some new opportunities there. And it's actually the last time for us as a kind of a family of three or four, if you count the dog, because we've got a new arrival in next month coming along to join the family, another child. So, to be able to have that time together and more time than normal is definitely something we're thankful for and kind of cherishing whilst before there's a change in the family dynamic.
Oh, excellent. And that's what an exciting time for you, and an unusual time, I suppose. And it's great. It's a great way of framing things as well. Yes, it is. You've got a new arrival due very soon, so treasuring that time you've got together, I really love it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, and as we were talking before the session, Barry, like with contactless delivery, if you do, whip up one of those lasagnas and put it in the freezer, then you can drop it at my doorstep and just knock on the door and take off. You don't have to worry about any kind of contact.
Yeah. Thanks, Cam. I'll remember that for when I drop off the lasagna.
Thanks.
What about you, James? What are you thankful or grateful for today?
Look, as an opportunity to be grateful for many things, but I suppose music is my element that I'm grateful for today. I have an affinity with music and being active, so I really enjoy the opportunity that putting on some of my favourite tunes and taking some time out from whether that be the day-to-day work or going out for a walk and really taking it all in, because I think this time so much has happened so quickly, so it's a real chance when I hear music and my favourite songs that I can settle and take everything in for what it is and enjoy the moment a bit more. But Barry, I'm interested to hear today. What is the number one thing that you're grateful for right today?
Well, it's going to sound a bit soppy, all right, so I apologise for that. But we're now a week into our WynActive webcast, and we've met so many interesting people, and we're hearing some great stories, how people are coping, what they're grateful for, their areas of expertise. Everyone from the mayor through to Choco Williams yesterday. It's fascinating stuff, and I'm really grateful to have the opportunity through this to speak to so many interesting people, and let's hope it continues today. But anyway, I'm sure it will. No, it has already. Only having to go at you, Cam. It's all good. So Cam, you're stuck at home. You're a naturally active person. You're active with your job. I know that for a fact that you're active in the sporting community as well. I would love to hear about that at some stage later. But how are you coping with staying at home and the social isolation?
Yeah, I was saying the other day to someone, like, it's a really strange situation where, there's limitations on what you can go out and do compared to what normal life might look like. But for some reason, life just feels so chaotic, and I'm not sure I've got any extra time to kind of sit around and think about all the things I should be doing. But, in general, apart from a bit of cabin fever in the evening, in the afternoon, after kind of being inside for the first bit of the day, we're going pretty well here at the Atkins residence. Yeah,
good. So I think, and as we heard from the Mayor Councillor Josh Gilligan last Friday, council is doing a lot, and you're obviously very engaged with that and very active like that, so you haven't slowed down at all.
That's right.
Yeah. What about, I know you help out with the Western Jets, football coach. How's that going? How are you coping with not being involved with that at the moment, or are you involved, and what's your involvement?
Yeah, well, it was really disappointing for the boys. I'm involved in the under-16 squad there, and we started training in November and got all the way through to 2 weeks before when our carnival games would have been, essentially. And that was the point where the AFL, I guess, put a hold on all football activities. So we kind of trained for 4 solid months in the lead up to, I guess, the culmination of the program, and haven't been able to finish that off. There's a lot of sweat that goes into those kind of programs from the players, and commitment to their parents to get them there. So that was really disappointing. But at this point, really all we can do is provide a home program for people to do, potentially with their family, and then wait and hear what the program looks like on the resume of football. We're not sure if it's something that I guess the AFL will put on the shelf for this year, or if there'll be an opportunity perhaps in the middle school holidays or later in the year to be able to get the squad back together and play those games. So hopefully there is, because I guess you build a bit of a bond across the squad across that time that we were together, and it'd be really good to kind of finish the job.
And Cam, I suppose further to what's happening in Wyndham local sport, things have been turned on its head, obviously, and from a sport and rec perspective, what is the department doing to help clubs through this time, and I suppose ensure that sport and recreation can move forward out of this?
Yeah, well, there's a lot happening in the background, because obviously on the ground there's some pretty significant restrictions on what we can do. But I think the first thing is, the real strength of the sporting community across Wyndham and more broadly than that is around that social connection and support that they provide people. Like often we remark on the kind of the physical benefits of being active, but I think that if you ask people why they join a community sporting club, more often than not, it's for that social connection. So I think that's the real opportunity to support the clubs to continue to do that, evidently through a digital means. And we've been looking at how we can provide the volunteers and leaders at those clubs with different referral pathways within the community for food bank or mental health or whatever it might be, so that I guess they can continue to provide that support to their members, and in particular those ones that might be experiencing hardship at this time. And I think that's a really important function that the clubs can continue to play, even though their activities look a bit different. From there, there's planning going on at the moment around what the phasing back in of activities will look like as the restrictions start to be lifted. I think that we'll probably see something similar to coming back in reverse to what it was kind of taken out. I think that's probably a fair assumption, and inherently there's some activities that are more conducive to kind of social distancing measures than others that I guess we're working with the peak bodies and Sport and Recreation Victoria to understand what that looks like. And as part of that discussion, we're kind of working with the other local governments across Victoria and sport and government to try and get a consistent approach to, I guess, community sport, in particularly for some of the major codes coming back, so that there's, I guess, a coordinated approach to that happening, and everyone's clear on what the approach is, and that we can balance the compromises that everyone's going to have to make to get people back on the park, which is a shared goal and the number one priority to be able to achieve that later in the year. The third thing is, what we're seeing, and it's it's one of the silver linings in all of this, is just a boom in the number of people that are out kind of walking and cycling the shared trails. I don't know about you guys, but I go for a walk out the back here where we live, and I'm probably seeing 4 times as many people out there with their families being active, and that's something that we'd love to see retained at the end of this, and something that when we talk about healthy behaviours and being able to do things as a family in Wyndham, like what a great opportunity to try and, I guess, support the community and residents to continue to be able to do that once the restrictions do lift. So there are a few of the things that we're working on at the moment.
Oh, that's fantastic, Cam, and it's great to hear that the planning is proceeding, because it's going to be so important as we come out of this time, this crisis, I suppose, because there's no blueprint to follow. We've never had to do this before.
That's right, and I think everyone would have experienced how rapidly things changed at the start of the whole situation, and we'll be in line with obviously the state and federal guidelines. So really, the planning is about making sure that we've done that kind of scenario planning, so that when those directives come out from those levels of government, that we're in a position to mobilise as quickly as possible. Where the opportunities present, because we know that there's people all across Wyndham that love these facilities and love the activities that they do, and they're desperately missing them. So we want to be able to do our bit to make sure we can get back there as quickly as possible.
100%. You spoke about people being active, and James and I have briefly touched on it before, but Wyndham City, in conjunction with WynActive, is really pushing a campaign about find your 30, do it your way, and some of your thinking is certainly in there. Cam, do you want to talk us through your understanding and what you would hope to get out of this Find Your 30, Do It Your Way campaign that we're very active within, both James and I?
Yeah, sure thing. So we know that the kind of national guidelines for physical activity kind of say that for health benefits, people should be aiming for 150 minutes of exercise or physical activity a week. So, obviously it's it's difficult for people to, we don't expect people to find that all in one go. So it's about breaking that down into bite-sized chunks so that we can pop that up over the course of the week. So the Find Your 30 is really about trying to find those 30 minutes a day where you can participate in some level of physical activity. And the good news is it doesn't have to be 30 minutes in one block. It can be 3 lots of 10 minutes spread throughout the course of the day. So that's really the essence of the Find Your 30 campaign. And I guess the do it your way bit is that there's no limitations. Well, there are some limitations at the moment in terms of what we can go out and do in terms of activities. But what we're saying is that people can choose their preferred way to do their physical activity. So, at the moment for me, it's teaching my young fella to ride his bike and running along beside him to make sure he stops before he gets to the end. Or going out on the teddy bear hunt around the neighbourhood looking for bears and rainbows in the window. And I'm not sure it's probably the level of intensity that I'd be used to doing, but it's about us both getting out there and getting a bit of fresh air and hopefully tiring him out by the end of the day so he goes to bed on time.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's good, and you've talked about two things there. And I remember when my children were a lot younger doing exactly that, Cam, and running alongside them while they're learning to ride a bike. But that's fairly strenuous, but also just the walk, getting out, and certainly heard about the teddy bear hunts. And I know in the front of our house we've got the teddy bear there, so if people walk past, they can see it. So it's great to see, and I also agree with the number of people out and about trying to be active and trying to do the right thing and get out of the house and get off the couch as well. It's great to see, James.
That's right.
Yeah, and I think, sorry, James, I think that the guidelines are largely based around the physical benefits, but in this kind of situation we're in at the moment, I think that regardless of whether it's low, medium or high intensity, just getting out there, getting a bit of fresh air does wonders for people's mental health and well-being. And I think that's probably the most critical thing at this point in time. So,
yeah, and I think further to that there is so many ways that you can be active, and you just have a look at the weekly schedule from WynActive when it comes to the variety of classes and different videos that are out there. I know people are probably missing their gyms, whether it is at WynActive or the other wonderful health and wellness facilities across Wyndham. And there's so many innovative ways that businesses are now interacting with people to inspire that activity. And I suppose we're just trying to reinforce that messaging. And look, if we can change a few behaviours through the Find Your 30 and get people to get the real benefits from physical activity, and as you say, Cam, it's not just the physical benefits. It's the reduced stress. It's the endorphins and feeling good and the sense of achievement that completing some activity or whatever intensity, whether it be chair-based exercises, your Pilates classes, your yoga, might be the walk, or might be practicing the footy skills, or making your own hockey stick with the broom and some duct tape at home, or whatever it may be. The resources are out there, and I suppose WynActive is one, and the Wyndham Together website is another. So be sure to check them out for some great ideas and some content. But we look forward to it all.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we're really looking forward to is getting the feedback from everyone out there around how they are being active. And as you said, there's I stumbled across last night a web page that was showcasing all the Strava art out there. Do you know what that is, guys?
No.
So there's people out there that are looking at the road and path networks where they live and doing a bit of artwork, and then going out and running or cycling that route and loading it up online. So they're doing all sorts of different, animals, kings, crowns, all sorts of different things. So there's maybe a challenge we can throw out to everyone to go and do some walking or cycling art down the track and let us know how they've been able to do that in Wyndham.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, Cam, thanks very much. Really enjoyed having you on today. I know we gave you a little bit of stick early on, but that's because we know you so well and know you that you can have a bit of a joke and a bit of a laugh, and it's so important at the moment that we do that. But really appreciate you having on, sharing what you're doing, your plans coming up, but also from a personal level, what you're doing and what your family's doing as well. Just want to say thanks very much. Thanks, James.
Thank you, and further to you, Cam. All the best with the upcoming change in conditions at the Cam Atkins family household, and we wish you all the best. So we look forward to seeing the new addition to your family, and thank you, Barry. And I look forward to joining you on the next edition of our WynActive webcasts.
No worries. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, fellas. See you later.
Thank you.
We'll see you all tomorrow for another WynActive webcast. See you later.